Good morning, Year 4s. Today is your third English lesson of this week, and we are going to be developing 2 more arguments into your persuasive text. Our learning objective today is to write the arguments of my persuasive text. We're going to be organizing your writing into paragraphs. We'll continue to use DD sentences, use and punctuate lists of 3, and we are going to use noun and who sentences, comma who sentences, noun which sentences. Let's have a Before we start, yesterday we did some work in DD sentences. Let's have a look at things that we could improve into these 2 sentences to make them good DD sentences. Let's start with this one. Our teachers are highly qualified. Lessons are turned into exciting experiences. Here I have 2 sentences, but they are separated by a full stop. How do I make them become a DD sentence? Well, good job if you noticed that you could just change the punctuation over here into a colon. And this lesson doesn't have to be capital anymore. Let's see what it would look like. Right, so it will look like this. Our teachers are highly qualified. The first part is description, colon. Lessons are turned into exciting experiences. This is a standalone sentence, but it does give detail to the first part. Let's have a look at another example. Here I have a little longer sentence. For example, Miss Sheikh Bahai is the science leader and trains all the other teachers in the Federation to become Masters of Science teaching. How can I turn this sentence into a DD sentence? Can you spot that there are 2 clauses in here? Where would you punctuate it for it to become a DD sentence? So let's spot the first part of the sentence. Miss Sheikh Bahai is the science leader. If I stop here, this is a first clause. So this is my first sentence and it could be my description. I can remove the end and add a colon and a pronoun to start my sentence that gives details. She trains all the other teachers in the Federation to become Masters of Science teaching. So I won't need and is another way of add information. But if you use a DD sentence, it can be more elegant and it gives you a variety of sentence types into your text. So here you go. 2 minute, 2 sentence, 2 DD sentences. Now let's jump back into what is it that we're doing. We are writing on persuasive text and we are persuading people about what's the best school to go to. And of course, we believe it's our schools. Before we revise all the features of these texts, let's have a look at our vocabulary. Now looking at this vocabulary, I'm thinking of a word that means very important. What's the word? Fab. Significant. Significant means very important. Significant heritage sites, significant museums, significant experiences, very important experiences. Now, I'm thinking of a word that means a variety of things. Well done if you thought diverse. If you're thinking of diverse, you're talking about a variety of things, a variety of sweets, a variety of Legos, a variety of colors, a variety of clothes, a variety of choices, diverse choices. Right, let's go over the the meaning of every single one of them before we can actually use them, all right? So let's remind ourselves of phenomenal. Your turn. It means exceptionally good, and you can replace that by exceptional, remarkable, extraordinary, and outstanding. Extensive. Your turn. It means large in amount. You can also use comprehensive, thorough, and complete to make that mean extensive. Diverse. Just as we saw, it means a great deal of variety. You can also use distinctive and multiple instead of diverse. Abundance. Your turn. It means a very large quantity of something. You can also use the words profusion, affluence, amplitude, plenitude of choice, abundance of choice, abundance of clubs. Stimulating. It means encouraging, something that creates enthusiasm and an interest. So our stimulating clubs, for example. You can also use motivating, energizing, and encouraging as synonyms to stimulating. Significant. Your turn. As we saw, means of great importance. You can also use notable, remarkable, important, and striking as synonyms for significant. Conscientious. Your turn. That means that to work well and thoroughly. You can use diligent, dedicated, careful, thorough, and hard-working as synonyms for conscientious. Finally, embark. Your turn. You can embark on an adventure, you can embark on a book, you can embark on a story. So it might mean to embark physically onto a vessel, but it also means to embark yourself into a situation, into a trip, for example. Embark to the trip, embark into a story. Right, okay, so we are writing our arguments of persuasive text. Remember, focus on organizing your text into paragraphs using DD sentences, and we're going to be working on noun, which, who sentences today. Let's just revise the structure of persuasive text. Right now, you should be masters of all the 6 steps of persuasive writing. Come on, give them to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You should have this by at the tip of your tongue by now. Here they are. What I think, why I think this one, why I think this 2, why I think this 3, what other people think, why I still think it. Today we are focusing on these 2 reasons. So today we are solely working on arguments. Yesterday we worked on the introduction, the first argument. Today we're only working on arguments. Let's just remember ourselves the persuasive text features that are going to be useful for us to create an engaging, persuasive text. We have rhetorical questions, those that do not require an answer, and we use to hook our reader and keep them engaged. Also, to share some information, we're going to use facts and statistics. So we are giving truthful statements about our school, about our teachers, about our curriculum, things that we know for experience or for facts that I'm giving to you over this lesson. We might be using some exaggeration to create a stronger point. We are the best school in the universe, for example. And we pay particular attention to the type of conjunctions that we use. We'll be using lots of conjunctions, additive conjunctions, because we are adding information in here. We are adding reason after reason. We are adding fact and statistic after fact and statistic. So we need to link our sentences together through additive conjunctions, such as in addition, furthermore, moreover. Let's have a look at what they look like. Now, I know we've been working on noun, which, who sentences last week. Let's just brush off the rules of this type of sentence. This is another sentence that is very useful to add information. just like DG sentences. So it's important that we use a variety of sentences to add information and only a single one. Otherwise, it's quite tiring to read a text that is made solely by DG sentences or noun-rich sentences. So let's brush off on noun-rich sentences. The punctuation here is the key. So, on a noun-rich sentence, we use commas to embed a clause in a sentence, to add information that links with the sentence topic and start the clause with which, who, or where. Hold on a minute, miss. What is to embed a clause? Fine. We think of a sentence that makes sense on its own. It needs to start with a capital letter, it needs to have a verb, it needs to talk about something, and it needs to end with a full stop. On top of everything, it needs to make sense. That's a sentence. Once we have a sentence, we can split this into two. So let me give you a sentence about our science team, about Miss Sheikh Bahai. Miss Sheikh Bahai trains all teachers in the Federation. Full stop. I started my sentence with a capital letter. I have a who, I have a what, and I have a full stop, and it does make sense on its own. What I'm going to do, I'm going to break this sentence that makes sense on its own in the middle. I'm going to break my sentence right after the noun. My noun is Miss Sheikh Bahai, because she is a person. So I'm going to break my sentence there, and I'm going to embed a clause. So that means I'm going to add information after my noun. Here's what it looks like. Miss Sheikh Bahai, I broke my sentence with a comma. Who, and I need to use who because Miss Sheikh Bahai is no ordinary noun, it's not a which, it's not a where, is a who, she's a person. Who is the science leader, comma, trains all teachers in the Federation. So can you spot, let me highlight in green my original sentence. Miss Sheikh Bahai trains all teachers in the Federation to become masters of teaching. Now, this is the clause that I embedded. Who is a teacher? Who is a science leader? Now, who is a science leader is not a sentence on its own, and it does not make sense on its own. It doesn't start with a capital letter. It does talk about something, but it does not make some on its own. Let's have a look at another option over here, another example of noun which who sentence. Our diverse curriculum, which is a broad and extensive selection of subjects, make learning a stimulating experience. So let's just have a look at what is my main sentence. Here we are. Our diverse curriculum makes learning a stimulating experience. If I read it like this is a full sentence that makes sense on its own. It does not need anything else. But in order to add information, I need to break it up after my noun. Curriculum is my noun. I break it up with a comma and I embed my clause. So I'm adding this bit of information, which is a broad and extensive selection of subjects. Now in this case, I cannot use who because my noun, the curriculum, is not a person, it's something. One last example for this one. Our sports hall, where we host our international evenings, carnival and fairs, is the heart of our school. Can you spot the main sentence, the main clause? Our sports hall is the heart of our school. If I read it like that, it makes sense on its own. It's got a capital letter, a noun, a who, it ends with a full stop, and it makes sense on its own. Now I'm adding information. The information that I'm adding is where we host our international evenings, carnival and fairs. This is not a sentence, it's a clause that does not make sense on its own. In order for me to add this to my main clause, I need to break my main clause using two commas. If we pay attention to the use of commas, you're going to be masters of embedded clauses in now which who sentences. Let's have a go in our share. Right, so today it's clear that we are writing two arguments. We are on the paragraphs where we write why I think this 2 and why I think this 3. If you remember our previous lessons, the arguments that we're bringing, the second argument that we are bringing up today is the creative, diverse, extensive curriculum. So we are going to talk about the curriculum of our school. I like to call your attention to this. So I have here some of the conjunctions that we may use to add information. Furthermore, in addition, also, moreover, listen more. Pause the video, maybe do a quick Google search or use your thesauruses to find out some more additive conjunctions that we may use on today's writing. After that, let's move on to see some of the ideas. Remember, at this point we will brainstorm on A3 sheets with lots of people around us, but unfortunately we are just going to stick to some of the ideas that I can give you, and you on your notebook, you develop it a bit longer. I'll give you 3, you need to come up with at least 3 others, so you can enrich your text later on. So let's see, what can we talk about our curriculum? What can we say about our curriculum? Did you know, now if you remember, this is the beginning of a rhetorical question. I am not bound to use rhetorical questions at the beginning of the text. I can use it all throughout it, as long as you don't overuse it, because it does make it a bit tiring to read question after question. But here, if you use a rhetorical question, you can always use a rhetorical question to show some interesting facts. Did you know? Well, did you know that we have a diverse curriculum? Our school has a diverse creative curriculum, extensive curriculum. You could use it the way that is on top of that. Come up with some rhetorical questions and show me in your writing later on. That is a great strategy to keep your reader interested, because this is right the middle of your text. Right, so here I'm bringing one of our noun-which sentences. Our curriculum, comma, which celebrates the diversity in our community, comma, includes stimulating events such as International Evening Carnival and fairs. Oh, let me check that. I'm sorry about the typo. So remember, what's key in here is that I am splitting my sentence. Our curriculum includes stimulating events such as International Evenings, Carnivals and Fairs, with a pair of commas here and here. So everything in between is my embedded clause. This, our curriculum includes stimulating events, is my main clause. Feel free to use it, but change it a little bit so you can make it your own. What about this one? We offer an abundance of clubs which range from astronomy to movie making that develops our skills and amazing talents. Again, let's highlight the structure of this noun-which sentence. We offer an abundance of clubs that develops our skills and amazing talents. This is your main sentence. This is your main clause. I then break it up with a couple of commas where I can embed further information, which range from astronomy to movie making. So, which range from astronomy to movie making does not make sense on its own. So I need to embed this using my 2 commas. If you can master the use of these 2 commas, you are going to master this sentence type, which is a great sentence type for a variety of text types. Can you come up with other sentences like that about the curriculum? Make sure you do, because I'm looking forward to read this in your task this afternoon. For our second argument of today, why I think this 3, we are going to talk about trips and residentials. This is something quite unique to our school. We are pioneers in offering residential trips for all year groups. A residential trip is a trip where you go and you spend a night or 2 or 3, and in the case of year 6 is 7 nights when they go to a farm in Wales. Most of us all look forward to that trip. Here you have some other key language that you can use. I thought you could have there is no doubt, and it's well known as sentence starters because they are very persuasive. Also, you can carry on using these expressions to add more information. So to link a sentence to another, you can use the sentence openers to show that you are adding more information. On top of this all, comma, what is more, comma, and then introduce a new sentence. So you don't have loose sentences, but you are actually joining them up in a nice fluid paragraph. So let's think about our trips and residentials. How can we make this into a nice argument? Now you're going to rely a lot on your own experiences. Think of all trips that you've attended. Think of all the residentials that you've been. This year in year 4, we went to Peak District, to Cadbury World. Spent 2 nights over there. This is so exciting. I'm sure you have plenty to talk about it. Let's have a look. Nice sentence type. What type of sentence is this? Let's have a look. We go to the most significant museums where we have hands-on experiences as a regular activity. Now here you have this as your main sentence. We go to the most significant museums as a regular activity. That makes sense on its own. Now I add information where we have hands-on experiences. It doesn't make sense on its own, so I need to embed using my 2 commas in the middle of my main clause. That's a nice one to use, where. Museum is a noun, right? Is a thing, but it's a place, so you can use where here. Nice, good one. Let's think about this one. Our school takes us to see the world, the most significant heritage sites that exist in the country. What sentence type is that? Well done if you remember that this is a DD sentence. Here's your colon. Here's your first part of the sentence where you describe something. Our school takes us to see the world. I'm describing it, and I am giving detail. The most significant heritage sites that exist in the country. What do we go to see in the world? The most significant heritage sites in the country. Remember, is our success criteria to use a variety of sentences, so make sure you're using as many DD sentences as noun-rich sentences. Finally, this is a nice one. Sorry about that. Oops. So this is a nice one. Every year group is given the opportunity to embark in an adventurous residential trip. In year 2 we go to Paradise Wildlife, in year 4 we go to Cadbury World, and in year 6 we get to go to a farm for 7 days. There's a lot going on in here. Well done if you spotted that this is a DD sentence. Here you have your colon. The first part of your sentence is a description. You embark in an adventurous residential trip. Well done for spotting the key vocabulary there. Now, the next part is adding detail. Well done. There's not only adding detail, it's listing 3 different things. Look, it's listing where you go in year 2, in year 4, and in year 6. There is a nice effect of listing 3 things at a time when you're writing a persuasive text. So every time you want to list things in these arguments, list 3 things at a time. When you think of clubs, list 3 clubs at a time. When you think of trips, list 3 trips that you've attended at a time. Which year groups you did this, when. Right, so make a few more sentences. Check your punctuation in your notebook before we move on to writing on your to-do. This is going to be your to-do today. That's what it looks like. It's the same structure as yesterday. The title is already here. And here, remember, I don't need to read these. These are just prompts of what you should write. You have space for 2 paragraphs. So we're doing every day 2 paragraphs. The first paragraph is what I think to. You're talking about the diverse curriculum. You're going to use facts and statistics, DD sentences and now which sentences. It's going to be the same for your second paragraph, but your argument is different. It's about the trips and residentials. Use your facts and statistics about it. Use the facts that you know. Use your own experience here, so you should have plenty to write about. Make sure that you organize your thoughts into DD sentences and noun-which sentences. Use plenty of additive conjunctions to be successful. As you're going along, you're going to make sure that you cover all of these, that your text is organized into paragraphs, and that should not be hard because you have 2 prompts here. You should have 2 clear paragraphs here. You should use noun-which sentences, DD sentences, facts and statistics. At the end, make sure that you're using key vocabulary in your text. Remember, your key vocabulary is available at all times over here. If you hover over it, you are going to be able to see the meaning of them if in case you just forgot. And finally, you are going to read what you wrote and you're going to check your work. You're going to check your spellings, your punctuation, and that everything that you wrote is making sense. I'm sure you're going to come up with a great writing today, especially because it's to do with your own experiences in our schools, which are the greatest schools in the whole universe. So have fun doing it. I'm looking forward to read the results. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.